we're getting started on our backs, take a moment to get comfortable. If you'd like to place something underneath your head, you can, that's fine. I'm just going to breathe for a little bit. Again, try to keep the heat minimal, what we create. We don't need any additional heat. Place your palms on your lower belly and allow the shoulders to relax, the head to become heavy. And as always, I'm going to encourage you to begin the practice with the knees bent. And if it's comfortable, you can bring your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Let the knees fall towards one another. They just lean up against each other. If you can do that, it's not comfortable for everybody, but if you can, it really enables the legs to kind of hold each other up. And you can still completely relax the lower half of the body like we would in Shavasana. You're not holding the legs up, they're kind of holding each other up. And once you've kind of settled into, you feel comfortable and just kind of release, softly close the eyes. And let's take 3 deep breaths together. So full, you can empty out wherever you are, just empty the breath. And then take a nice deep breath in through the nose. And an audible exhale. Just kind of sighing. You're all in your own space. You're all muted. Make as much noise as you wish. 2 more. Inhaling deeply. Letting go, whatever it took to arrive on your mat. 1 more time. Inhale. Just settle in. Allow gravity to take over. Allow yourself to be fully supported by the earth. Taking a moment to accept that support. We all tend to be rather independent. We're a can-do attitude, which is great. We hesitate to ask for help. And so here we can ask, or at least accept, that support of the earth that's here for us always, unconditionally. The air that we breathe, the water that we drink, the food that we eat, all comes from this planet. Kind of acknowledging that our survival depends on her. And bring your attention back into the breath and begin to lengthen it. Here, let's go ahead, if you can, to breathe in both directions through the nose. And begin to even the length of your breath out between the inhale and the exhale. And each breath is about an 85% of fullness. So it's pretty full, yet comfortable, no strain, no stress. And sense a nice, smooth, continuous flow so that the inhale very smoothly drops into the exhale. And the exhale smoothly transitions into the inhale. A little multitasking here. Maintain this breath as best as you can as you check in with the physical body. So the breath continues to be smooth and even. And notice the areas of tension or injury that you're nurturing. Sometimes in these quiet moments, we can ask the body what it has to share with us. What is it trying to tell us? How's your energy body? What are you noticing there? The subtleties, the sensations just beneath the skin. Or literally, how is your energy? Are you feeling depleted from the heat? Are you taking the steps necessary to stay cool, stay hydrated? Adjusting your schedule accordingly. Adjusting our routines. Continuing with that breath, just notice how are you emotionally, mentally today? What's coming up for you? Just acknowledging who's here right now. And acknowledging how connected you may or may not feel to your intuitive body right now, your inner GPS, your inner guru. And are you able to make decisions easily? Are you feeling challenged with life right now? A lot of uncertainty and doubt. The more we tune in to our intuition, the more that aspect of doubt will diminish. And the more comfort or ease we can feel in not knowing everything, trusting that the answers will eventually arrive. Find your way back into the breath, just bringing your attention on the breath, in and out. Maintain that breath. Bring the knees and the feet all the way together. Let's do our gentle low back care practice. So knees and inner edges of your feet touching, and slowly begin to move the knees side to side. Very small motion, keeping the feet planted to begin with. If you'd like to shift your arms at this point, you can, feel free, but maintain that continuous smooth flow of breath. And I'm going to caution that we are going to move into a very minimal twist here. I'm asking to keep it minimal because we're just warming up. And especially if, like me, you have any bulging discs in your low back, any herniated discs, any low back injuries or sensitivities going on, then I'm going to really ask you to keep this minimal. Maybe you can make this a little bit larger, allowing the edges of the feet to come off the floor a bit. Engage the core. Right? So we played with that a few weeks ago as we move in and out of twists, that we engage the lower abdominal muscle, or even as we're holding in a twist, we do that. We're not going to do a lot of twists today, but just as a reminder, that's an active part. We want to keep the abdominal area active when we're in any kind of twisting motion, really throughout the whole practice, but that really protects the low back. And then bringing that back to center. Pause, noticing any sensations. And then we'll bring our feet hip width apart and come into our hip sliders or hikers, hip hikers, up towards each shoulder. Small mindful movements. The knees move towards you and away. They do not sway side to side. Notice your breath. And maintain that deep, full, even, comfortable breathing. If at some point you would prefer to exhale through the mouth, you could do that. That's one way to notice your intuitive guidance. Just notice, did you have that desire? And because I didn't give you permission, did you not do it? And giving yourself permission in your practice to do what's best for you. Bring that back to center or neutral. And then press into the right foot. Point the right hip up to the ceiling and back down. And then the left. Same action with the knees. You're pushing that knee away from you. And then they do not move side to side. Bring that to neutral, back to center. Take a moment, just take a breath or two. Notice the sensations through the sacrum and the low back. And then either go back to one that was really resonating with you, felt good, or go ahead and alternate between the two. You decide. And then drop into neutral or back to center. Take a breath. And then draw the knees into the chest. From here, just feel that gentle stretch in the low back. And then we'll come into our Apanasana. Just slowly on your inhale, push the knees arm lengths away. And exhale, pull them back in towards you. And here we can really coordinate the breath with the movement and allow the length of breath to guide the speed of the movement rather than the other way around. Then when you're ready, or if you're already ready, let's go ahead, keep the knees together and just make some nice slow circles around. Staying with that breath. And switch directions. And place the feet back down in your mat, as wide as your mat. Open the arms wide. And we'll come into our very gentle double knee drop. So this is a twist, but when we keep the feet wider, it's much easier on the sacrum and the low back. So exhale, release the knees to one side. Inhale, just the top knee. Legs open wide. Exhale, release them to the other side. Slow and mindful with your breath, inhaling wide and exhaling, release into the twist. Now, if you'd like to get your head involved and your blanket's not too high, if you're using a blanket, you can keep it there as long as the head isn't lifted too much. And then just start to rotate it in the opposite direction that the knees are going. So it's just, again, kind of moving that twist all the way up to the cervical spine, but it's very, very mild twist. And when you've gone equally to both sides, come back to our starting position, feet hip width apart. Let's go ahead and move the blanket out from underneath the head if you are using one. And we want our head to be in a fairly firm surface, so hopefully you're not on too squishy of a carpet. And again, in a neutral position, so the chin is neither, shooting up to the ceiling, nor is it tucked into the chest. We just want to feel our gentle, neutral curvature in our neck, in our cervical spine. Okay. And then what I want you to do is almost as if you're tucking the chin, practicing Jalandhara Bandha, that chin lock. You're going to press the head into the floor, led by the chin, just kind of pressing in. You're not going to get very far with a hard surface, but really just press in. It's that fascia work we're doing, that strength work, 3 to 4 second hold, and then just relax that. And do that 3 more times. And as best as you can, keep the rest of the body relaxed. So you're going to notice that maybe the toes want to activate, or you're activating in the shoulders or in the back somewhere. So just try to keep the rest of the body as relaxed as you can. Keep breathing. And then just relax after about 4 rounds. Just noticing the sensations in the neck. And then we're going to do that again. And this time just slowly, and please don't overdo this. Okay, it's just a moderate to pressure that we're pressing back. It doesn't have to be extreme. So we're going to press back again, and this time rotate until you feel your earlobe come towards the floor. The top of your ear might come to the floor. Keep that pressure all the way as you roll back to the other side. All the while, the neck is neutral, and we're just touching ear to ear with constant pressure, mild to moderate. Again, notice if there's some adaptations going on or parts of the body engaging that don't need to. Compensation. Try to relax that. And when you've gone side to side maybe 3 times, come back to center, relax that, and just notice the sensations. Let's breathe here. Good. All right, so we're going to go ahead now, interlace the hands, or one hand on top of the other, whatever's most comfortable for you, behind the right thigh. Extend the right foot to the ceiling. Okay. To begin, let's go ahead and just do point and flex. Just calf and shin. Okay. Notice your breathing. Maintain that smooth, even flow of breath. And then take the foot and circle it around. Just a little joint movement here on the ankle. And switch, circle the other way. And then bring that back to center. Now, if your arms tend to be shorter, or this is kind of stressful in the neck or the shoulders to hold your hands here, you could try to use a strap. Okay, so it's just right here, and you're not having to hold it. Okay, so we're going to do a little bit of resistance work and then come into a stretch. So what we're going to do is, again, 4 rounds, holding for 3 to 4 seconds. You're going to press that thigh away from you into your hands as the hands resist. Next, relax, please. And then relax, and you'll do that 3 more times. Really feel the back of that leg activating as it presses into the hands. Hands are trying to pull it back. Keep breathing. Okay, and then after that 4th round, we're going to come into a stretch. Now you can continue to use your arms, and I love using the strap here even if I can reach my foot. Place a strap around the ball of your foot. Okay, and again, you can use your hands. But what I'd like you to do is find an anterior tip of the pelvis. So if your low back is touching the floor, I want you to move that leg away from you to create a little space and find your lumbar spine in a neutral position, okay, which means there should be some space between the floor and your low back. And if that means you have to pull this leg farther away, then that's what you do, okay? Because we're going to come into a stretch. This isn't a passive yin stretch. This is an active stretch. So the position of the pelvis is important. Foot's flexed, and as long as you can maintain that pelvic position, you can start to pull the leg a little closer to you. Okay, but if you are rounding, posteriorly tipping the pelvis and flattening that low back, you want to back off. Okay, we really want to get into the deeper muscles safely where the hamstring attaches into the glute. This is really nice work for the low back. And then for those of you comfortable doing so, you feel safe doing so, you can extend the left leg along the floor. Continue with that pelvic tilt. And breathe. Okay, so nice, smooth, even breathing. Bend that left knee if you straightened it. And release the strap or your hands, whichever you're using. Extend that right leg out along the floor and just kind of shake it out a little bit, side to side. Extend the left leg out along next to it. Like a little mini Shavasana, open the arms out away from you, palms up. And notice any differences you may feel between the right and left sides. Bend both knees. And just go through that series on the other side. Interlace your hands behind the left thigh. Okay, and we'll just start with the ankle by pointing and flexing. Also, you'll feel in the shin and the calf. And take the foot and circle it in one direction. And switch, circle the other way. come in and hold here. We're going to do our resistance work, so feel free to use the strap if you'd like to. 4 rounds, 3 to 4 seconds. Press that leg away from you as the hands resist. Notice any tension that may be creeping up in the neck. Keep it relaxed. Facial muscles relaxed. Good. And now we're going to come in to the stretch. So if you're going to use a strap, go ahead and put that around the foot. Ball of the foot. You can also just use your hands. Find that tip of the pelvis, so create some space in your lumbar spine for the floor. Left foot is flexed. And if you need to bring that leg a little farther away from you to find that space in your low back, then do so. Okay, maintain that space as you draw the leg a little closer to you. And breathe. And if you choose to extend that right leg, go ahead. Try to anchor the back of that right thigh into the floor. And with that anterior tip of the pelvis, you can get closer to doing that. Bend that right leg. Place the foot in the floor. Remove the strap of your hands. Extend that left leg out along the floor. Again, a little mini shavasana. Extend the right leg. And just notice the sensations. Bend the knees, feet hip width apart. Arms by your side, palms down. And we're going to come into our moving bridge, so make sure nothing's above your head, please. We'll use our arms here. If you can, your feet are directly underneath your knees so that your ability to just push the hips straight up. If the feet are farther out away from you, you're going to be pushing yourself towards the wall where your head is. You're going to be pushing yourself away. And we want to feel the motion straight up and down. Okay, so that if you can, I know some of you may not be able to bend your knees quite this much. Do the best you can. All right, we're going to start with just the lower half of the body as we slowly roll the spine up off the floor, lift the hips, pressing into the feet. And then slowly roll back down. Now, keep your neck neutral. Okay, so really pay attention to the position of your cervical spine here. On your inhale, you roll the hips up. And exhale, vertebrae by vertebrae, back down to the floor. One more round with just the lower half of the body. And then we'll go ahead now and add the arms. So on your next inhale, the hips come up, arms reach overhead. If you can bring them all the way to the floor, that'd be great. If there's any kind of shoulder limitations, you can just bring them up to the ceiling if you need to. Leave the arms where they are as you exhale and lower the spine and the hips. Inhale the hips back up. And exhale, arms and hips back down. several more rounds here, 3-part moving bridge. Inhaling up. Leave the arms there as you exhale, lower the spine. Inhaling, lift. Just slow movements here. Exhale, release. Try not to create any unnecessary heat. Let's go 2 more, just on your own. Connecting with the breath and the movement. When you complete the next round, pause and just rest in any sensations you're having. Just notice the results, feeling the echo of the practice. And once again, draw the knees into the chest. Give yourself a little hug. Maybe sway a little bit side to side if that's available. And then go ahead and roll to one side. And just coming to hands and knees briefly. Still do a little cat-cow. You can, for those of you who can't be on your knees, you're certainly welcome to do this in a standing position. We're going to come to standing shortly. All right, so exhaling, round, and inhaling, open. We're just moving the spine front to back. Exhaling as we round, inhaling into the gentle back bend, and the entire time, navel drawn to the spine. Okay, so core is engaged here, which helps to support the low back as it moves in and out here, posterior, anterior tip of the pelvis. And then let's go ahead, curl the toes under, find your way into down dog for a moment. And walk your feet up to your hands into a standing forward fold. Hang out here for a moment, bend the knees if you need to. Relax the head, relax the shoulders, allow the spine to drape over the thighs into a gentle stretch here. Okay, so we're holding here for a moment. So you make the modifications necessary for this stretch to remain gentle. Okay, so you can have a block to place your hands on. You can bend the knees if you need to. You can rest your forearms on your thighs if you need to keep your head lifted for any reason like blood pressure. Okay, you can even be here like in a half fold and still find that stretch. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then on your next inhale, we're going to bring our hands to our hips. You're going to bend the knees, engage the core, lengthen the spine, and slowly press down to come up. And allow the arms to hang safely or in a relaxed state by your side. Take a few breaths, finding your equilibrium, coming into a Tadasana, into mountain pose, feet anchoring into the earth. You can close your eyes or gaze straight ahead. Just breathe in and out of your heart, dropping more and more into the presence of this practice and the gifts that it has for you today. Okay, let's just do a couple rounds of our half salutations and we'll come into some more of our strength work. So on an inhale, we're reaching overhead. Take a hold of one wrist and exhale, fold to the opposite side. Inhale back up. And exhale to the other side. Inhale back up. And exhale, lower the arms. Bring your palms to your low back as you inhale and open into the heart. A little bit of a back bend, but we're still tucking the tail slightly. And then the palms run down the back of the legs. Exhale to your version of a forward fold. Inhale halfway, nice long spine, engage the core. And exhale, release. Arms by your side. Bend the knees if you need to. Lengthen that spine. Keep your core strong as you inhale, come up. Take a hold of one wrist. Exhale to the opposite side. Just moving the spine gently in all directions. Inhaling. And exhale. Switch sides. Inhale. And exhale. Inhale. Open the heart. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale halfway. And exhale. Inhale back to standing. And exhale, float the arms out wide, back down by your side. And feel. Just pausing, allowing ourselves to rest in stillness for a moment. Just feel the practice. All right. So please grab a strap, a solid strap that you can create a loop, and the loop locks. Right? I need to take this off. Can't have anything on my wrist when I do this, or it's gonna not feel very good. Okay, so I'm gonna make a loop so that it's, when I put my hands in it and spread my hands, it's no more than shoulder width. Almost. Okay, so about shoulder width apart. I'm still a little wide. I'm gonna do a little resistance work here with the strap. Okay, so we're gonna start by our sides. Keep thinking I've got it small enough. Okay, so first of all, shoulders. Now, I definitely have a tendency to round, so it's something I have to really pay attention to. And with an engagement of your core, draw the shoulders back and down. So we're already activating the upper back so that our posture is nice and tall. And we want to keep that engagement with the shoulders drawn down and back, okay? We're going to press into the strap, okay? I've just got it on my wrists. I'm pressing out. And I'm going to keep that pressure as I slowly bring the arms up, just to shoulder height, and back down. Okay? Very slow, just go 4 rounds here. And we can coordinate the breath, inhaling and exhaling. 2 more rounds. and relax that for a moment. Let everything go. Okay. And then keep a hold of the strap with one hand. I've got it in my right arm, and just draw that arm across. Just a nice stretch across the body. Take a few breaths here. And then we'll switch. Draw the opposite arm across. Just hold and breathe. And then relax that. Good, so now we're going to take the strap behind us, okay? And again, about shoulder width apart. And I'm grabbing the strap. We're not going to use the loop here. I'm just holding it in my hands, okay? Shoulders down and back. So really hug those shoulder blades towards one another, okay? And we're going to do now the same thing. We're going to try to pull the strap apart. So you're really activating the tricep, okay, the outer part of the arm. And then slowly lift. And some of you won't get very far, and some of you will go farther. That's okay. And then lower. Just focus on your breath. Keep the shoulders down and back, resisting as you're pulling the strap away, lifting and lowering very slowly, 4 rounds. And relax that, shake it out a bit. And keep a hold of the strap just so we can grab on, or not have to pick it up off the floor. But I'm going to take my right arm and bend the elbow, bringing my hand behind, just stretching that tricep. If you need to, you can take the opposite hand to that elbow, deepening that stretch. Keep the head upright. So try not to drop it. Okay, trying to keep the neck extended. And then we'll go ahead and we'll switch sides. So left arm, and then the right arm maybe grabs that elbow if you need to deepen the stretch. Keep the head upright and breathe. And then relax that. Okay. Okay, one more in the upper body. So I'm going to bring my arm so it's at a 90-degree bend. I'm just holding onto the loop here. Okay. And then I'm going to step on the strap in a position that my hand is arm's about 90 degrees. Okay. And my foot is stepping on the strap. Okay. Again, paying attention to the shoulders down and back. Activate that upper back, activate your core. And then we go 4 rounds. Just try to, like you're trying to do a bicep curl. Obviously, it's not going to go very far because our straps have no stretch to them. So you're going to go ahead and just pull 3 to 4 seconds like you're trying to do that bicep. And then relax. And for 3 more rounds. And then release that, shake it out. And then we'll get set up on the other side. Just stepping on the strap allows you to have a 90-degree bend, approximately. Okay. Shoulders down and back, nice tall posture, engage the core. And 4 rounds here for 3 to 4 seconds, resist. And after that, relax that. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and we're going to move to the lower half of the body. So I'm going to create a loop that's big enough that I can comfortably step through it. And I'm going to tighten that strap up so that my feet are hip width apart and they're parallel, and the strap's going to be just above my knees. Okay. So it's not too wide where I feel like my knees go really wide. They're staying more or less hip width apart, okay, as well as my feet. And my straps maybe, I don't know, 3-4 inches above my knees. That's where I find it most comfortable. I think a little bit higher tends to go into the muscle, but I don't know, for me it's uncomfortable. And then on the buckle, I make sure the buckle is hanging out in between my legs, not on me, because that's going to hurt too, okay? All right. So we're going to first create some resistance. I'm pressing into the strap. Okay, so I'm pressing out into the strap. Core is engaged, and I'm going to keep that resistance as I slowly lower down into a squat. That may be minimal for some of you, but that's fine. You're still getting great work here. Okay, we want to keep those knees behind your toes. My weight's mostly on my heels. Heart's lifted, and I come back up. Okay, keep the arms low. 3 more rounds here. If you want to really increase your heart rate, you can lift your arms, but because we're trying to find a balance here today with not creating too much heat, got some effort going. It's amazing how much this resistance work already creates heat. So I'm not sure lifting the arms is necessary. It's also harder on the low back. And then pause. Shake that out a little bit without losing the strap. And I'd like to do that again, okay? So just kind of notice where you feel this. I actually feel it in my glutes as I come down, as well as my IT band and hips, right? You may feel it in a different place, but just be aware, okay? Nice and tall, press out to the strap and lower. Keep pressing out as you come back up. Just slow, deliberate, moving in and out of your version of a squat. Make sure you're still breathing, nice steady breaths. And pause, shake that out a little bit. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and remove the strap. And hopefully you all have someplace that you can place a hand on a wall. Okay. We're going to do, and some of you might need the strap for this actually. And I know this may not be available for everyone because of knees, but I'd like to try to stretch our quadriceps. And the only way I know to do it, other than if you have a soft foam roller, a soft one, not a hard one, you could roll on your thighs, and that might be nice. The other option is to place the strap if you're unable to reach like around the ankle. Right, and then you can kind of around the foot really and pull up to a position that feels right to you. If you can, you just grab your foot. Right, so just do the best you can with this. I know this isn't going to be something everybody can do today. But anyway, you draw your heel towards your glutes. Okay. If you're like me and you have a little bit more range of motion in your quadriceps, I don't really feel anything here. I actually can take my pelvis and posteriorly tip the pelvis, and now I can feel a stretch. Okay, so just breathe here for a moment. Slow, steady breathing. And then go ahead and release that, shake it out, and switch sides. Okay. Whatever you need to, whether it's the strap or taking a hold of the foot. Okay. The more you draw the knee in alignment or parallel to the opposite thigh, okay, rather than having it way out in front, it's hanging straight down. You draw that heel up to the glute, and then if you need to, you can slightly tuck the tailbone if you need to increase the stretch. Kind of a tricky area to get to, mostly because so many of us have some sensitivities in our knees. It makes it hard to get into this stretch. And then release that. And shake it out. Okay, so one more standing stretch here, and I'd like to do half dog on the wall, or if some of you have a chair nearby, you can use the chair. I will show both. Okay, so I've got that folding chair handy, and that's one way to do it, but I'll come next to that right now because I think most of you might use the wall. So I'm going to place my hands on a wall, or in my case, a door, and walk back so that I'm looking to create a 90-degree bend at my hips so that my upper body is parallel with the floor, and I have a 90-degree bend between my torso and my thigh. I can't really see myself, so hopefully I'm close to that. And I'm drawing the tailbone back, okay? Keep the core engaged. And this is a nice way to do a modified down dog. Now notice if your shoulders are in the ears, draw the shoulders away from the ears, reach back with that tailbone, keep the core engaged, spine is long, you're looking straight down at the floor. If possible, the hands are about the same height as your shoulders. And we're breathing here, okay? The other option, if you do have a chair, is to step back on the chair, with the chair, okay? So it's a little more of an intense stretch, and some of you might want that. Same alignment principles apply here, engaging the core, reaching back with that tailbone. It's all about lengthening the spine, so if you need to, bend the knees, but you still feel that stretch in the hamstrings. Let's take 2 more breaths here. And then slowly find your way up. Okay, I'm going to unfold or fold up my chair again. And come to the front of your mats. Take a moment in Tadasana, just feel the practice so far. Just notice the sensations. And on your inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold forward. Walk both feet back, find down dog now. Just notice the difference. Sometimes a chair or the wall can be a lot easier for people on their wrists, even on the shoulders, because you don't have as much weight on the shoulders. Just walk this one out a little bit. And then come down to the knees, and then into a child's pose, or whatever position is a resting pose for you. So that may be onto the belly instead. Okay, this may not be good for many of you with your knees. So just drawing back. Arms can extend out in front of you, or you can bring the thumbs to the back of your neck. Whatever position is most comfortable. a moment to reflect and to pause all the doing, to just be. And let's go ahead and come on up, grab a fascia ball, maybe the blanket, and maybe 2 fascia balls. I'm going to do a little heart opener here. So the blanket is folded not too thickly, similar to how we started, so that it doesn't create any unusual neck movement or position. You want to have it neutral, okay? Because we're going to place 1 or 2 of the fascia balls like we did on Monday, either side by side or in alignment with the spine, or just 1. I like 1 right along the bra line or right in between the shoulder blades. And you're going to find that you want the head lifted slightly, right? Or otherwise it drops so far back that the chin juts way up. So we want somewhat of a lift with that blanket. So it brings the head more to neutral. And then opening the arms, maybe you'd like to open them wide. Maybe you'd like to place them on your belly or by your side, whatever is most comfortable. I'm going to invite you to very deliberately breathe into your chest once you have found the position that serves you, allowing the body to melt over the fascia balls, to surrender to gravity, just like we began with. As we gently reverse that curvature in the spine, open the heart, open the chest, expand our lungs. And just very deliberately allow the chest to rise and fall here. With that same smooth, deep, even, comfortable breathing. We'll stay about 3 minutes. And find the mind wandering, bring it back to the breath, moving in and out. Take about 3 more breaths here. And then we'll go ahead and just remove the fascia ball. And we're going to set ourselves up into bound angle like we did Monday, but without so much of the props with the bolster and all of that. Some of you may be very open where you can simply be here without any props. Okay, we're just going to stay 2 or 3 minutes. Or you can take something of equal size underneath the knees just so they aren't hanging out, dangling in space. Okay, so the farther out you bring your props, you know, the more that the knees rest on the props, the wider you'll open, right? So if you wanted something more support, bring those props in closer towards the hips. Okay, whatever they are, blanket, pillows, whatever it is. Just a supportive bound angle pose in a position that allows you to drop in, totally let go. And now for a couple minutes, be here and breathe into the belly. So as much as possible, the chest is still, and then the belly rises and falls. One more minute. About 2 more breaths here. And go ahead and remove any props you may be using. Draw the knees together. Take a moment here. Just take a breath or 2. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Maybe do a few knee circles or apanasana. Just a little movement here with your breath. And find your way into Shavasana, extending the legs out along the floor. Feel free to place something underneath your knees if you'd like. Allow the feet to open, arms by your side, palms up. From here, we're going to let go of the breath, any shaping of the breath. Eyes softly closed. Surrendering into gravity. Surrendering all effort as you receive the gifts this practice had for you today. All about receiving. As I take you through a little mindfulness practice here together. So as your breath just finds its own rhythm, you're not controlling it, just be mindful of it rising and falling as you inhale and exhale. No controlling it, no shaping it. You're simply observing the breath on its own, doing its own thing. Focus on the sensations of breathing in and as you breathe out. Just the sensations of breathing. Now gently shift your focus from the breath and bring it into any sensations you're feeling in your body. Just observe and acknowledge the myriad of sensations flowing through the body as they change moment to moment. If you find any areas of tightness or tension, invite them to soften and relax. If you're not able to relax, acknowledge the sensations and allow them to flow wherever they need to go and do whatever they need to do. Non-attachment, just observe. Now draw attention to sound, your hearing. Just observe all sounds with ambivalence. Just acknowledge the multitude of varying sounds, internal and external, moment to moment. Notice how they change with each moment, how they rise and fall. Listening to them appear and disappear. Gently shut out the sounds. Just let go of paying attention to what you hear. And shift your focus to emotions and thoughts. Observe your mind without any judgment. Simply acknowledge the myriad of mental formations with each moment. Like lying in a field and watching the clouds move and change shape as they float by. Watch your mind in the same manner. Notice how your thoughts rise and form in the mind and then recede when another thought takes over. Our minds are constantly thinking about this and that, functioning with a mind of its own, analyzing, planning, remembering, comparing. Just experience how those thoughts appear and disappear as just thoughts. Observe and let them be, knowing they will appear and disappear and recede in time. If you do get caught up in any thoughts and feelings, it's okay. Just simply, but this is a way of returning to the present moment. Right? So once you realize you're lost in thought, in that very moment, you're no longer lost. Simply refocus on the mind, observing with the clouds of thoughts and emotions floating on and on. And if you get frustrated with your wandering mind, perhaps a short time of mindful breathing would be helpful. So just coming back to the breath. And once you're centered again, awareness, the mental and emotional thoughts floating by. This practice of present moment awareness invites you to become mindful of whatever arises with each moment in the mind and body, whether it's a stream of emotions or thoughts or sensations, sounds, or other sensory experiences. Just sit back and absorb the internal experience as your body and mind combine and interact with constantly changing stimuli. Simply observe what is prevalent in the mind and body and be present to it. Sometimes we have plenty of thoughts and emotions and sensations, but if nothing's occurring, you're always breathing, and that can be your anchor in the sea of change in your body and mind. As you learn to give space to whatever is arising inside without judgment, you can go with the flow more in life. Instead of fighting things, you'll begin to acknowledge and understand that all things change. Even feelings of anger or sadness, pain and anxiety and confusion will diminish if you simply give those feelings space. Bring your awareness back to your breath. Just feeling each breath in and out. And become aware of the space you're in, the space around you, the room you're in. Slowly finding your way back. Maybe even deepen the breath for a few rounds, wiggle some fingers and toes. As you slowly roll to one side, take a breath there and then find your way into a comfortable seated position. We're going to be here about 10 minutes. So if being on the floor for that long is not an option for you, please sit in a chair, a sofa, on your bed, wherever you are, so that you can be comfortable instead of distracted from the body. Spine is tall, shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Find a nice even breath in and out, and breathing through the nose if possible. We're going to take our left hand palm down on our thigh and bring the right hand up to our face. For the thumb and the ring finger to be on either side of the nose and the pointer and middle finger up at the third eye. Now technically this is taught to tuck those fingers down here. You can do that. I prefer to have them resting on my third eye. I just find that more valuable for me. So I just want you to know though that technically if those fingers are tucked down, resting kind of on the nose. Right? So I'll leave that up to you. So we're going to come into our alternate nostril breathing just for a moment to feel the sensations and tap into this technique. And then within a few minutes, we'll actually lower that right arm. We're only going to hold it up here for a bit and then do psychic alternate nostril breathing. But let's start with it to begin with. So wherever you are, go ahead and empty the breath out completely through both nostrils. You're going to softly close the left nostril with your ring finger as you inhale through the right. Close the right with the thumb, just very softly, it doesn't take much. Exhale out through the left. And then we'll go ahead now and inhale through the left. Softly close the left as you exhale right. Inhale right. Close, exhale left. Inhale left. Close, exhale right. And so go a few rounds on your own here. We switch after the inhale. And as you're breathing, I want you to imagine that each breath as it enters in through the nostril is taken all the way to the third eye or midbrain. And each breath out, the breath leaves the third eye back out through the nostril. All right, so you're breathing into your third eye. The alternate nostril breathing is wonderfully balancing. Okay, it's energizing and calming, heating and cooling, harmonizes the left and right sides of the brain, left and right sides of the body. A wonderful way to end the practice. The next time that you exhale out through the right nostril, release your right hand and invite both palms up. Upper arms relaxed by your side. And you're going to continue now in your mind's eye that alternate nostril breathing, switching after the inhale. As you take each breath into the third eye and exhale from the third eye out the opposite nostril. After the next exhale, let go of the alternate nostril visualization and imagine you're breathing in and out through your third eye. You don't have to lengthen the breath. You're just imagining it flowing in and out of the third eye. It may become very quiet and very shallow. It's okay. And just notice any sensations that you may experience with this. Maybe you have colors associated here, colors that come into mind. Allow that sensation or that color to drop into your heart center, Anahata chakra. Just resting in your heart. As I share a reading by David White, and it's called The Journey. Above the mountains, the geese turn into the light again, painting their black silhouettes on an open sky. Sometimes everything has to be inscribed across the heavens so you can find the one line already written inside you. Sometimes it takes a great sky to find that first, bright, and indescribable wedge of freedom in your own heart. Sometimes with the bones of the black sticks left when the fire has gone out, someone has written something new in the ashes of your life. You are not leaving, you are arriving. Bring your palms together to your hearts. Slight bow of the head, just acknowledging the goodness within, honoring this time you made for yourself today, for this practice. In gratitude for one another and sharing this time together. And I thank you for allowing me to take the seat of teacher. Namaste.